Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard. Thank you for watching today's Corn Belt Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. So we check in with the latest corn planting progress numbers here. As a lot of these areas are finally getting close to 100%. We're kind of losing the story there just a little bit, but now as we shift over towards soybeans, continuing to just see especially the eastern Corn Belt here being hit especially hard, but really everybody's still falling behind average here due to, again, this pattern with just repeated rain and thunderstorms. So you look at the last 72 hours of precipitation. This was well advertised here, this corridor across the eastern Corn Belt, but the entire Corn Belt seeing at least scattered showers and storms over the last 72 hours as we deal with, again, this very active pattern over a very warm and humid air mass. As we look to the next 5 days here, this is from the National Blended Model, continuing to just deal with this pesky boundary draped across the area, another corridor here across the north, but it's going to be another very active 5 days across this region here from the Central Plains into the Eastern Corn Belt. So we'll go ahead and we'll dive in and talk about why that is. Coupling that with the already very saturated soil, no surprise then, we've got several areas of flash flood watches, flood advisories, flash flood warnings, both in the Central Plains here and then across the Ohio River Valley here, where, again, that Eastern Corn Belt corridor, which has been especially hit hard over the last 72 hours and will be especially hit hard again over the next 5 days, unfortunately, from Illinois to Ohio, looking at another 5 days of very heavy rainfall. The severe weather threat here over the next couple of days here is the day one outlook for Tuesday. The highest severe weather threat going to be off across the central and southern plains from Kansas into western Texas. As we look ahead to the day two outlook, this would be for Wednesday, and we shift that risk eastwards just slightly here with a slight risk from Texas into Illinois and Indiana with a marginal risk surrounding that. The reason for that, well, we'll check in with the jet stream here today. Let me go ahead and jump back. This is what we're dealing with here on Tuesday morning. We've got this trough coming in from the western United States. That is why we've got the severe weather risk here across the southern plains on Tuesday. That is what will shift eastward slowly and bring that severe weather threat to the mid-Mississippi Valley and the mid-South on Wednesday. And as we head through the later part of the week, we're going to be watching for the emergence of a much larger trough here from the Pacific Northwest. This is now looking at the jet stream alignment for Friday evening. And we see this new well-defined trough coming in across the western United States. And what you also see across the Corn Belt is this area of divergence. And what I mean by that is the upper level winds kind of fanning out here where across the central part of the country, and where we see divergence aloft. That usually leads to, or that sets the stage for a lot of rising motion. And a lot of rising motion over the top of a warm and humid June air mass means a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity. And so we can kind of dive in now and take a look more specifically over the next 72 hours. And we'll do that with the high resolution NAM model here. And we're going to be watching for a couple of corridors here on Tuesday. The first is which going to be across the central and southern plains. You remember where we've got the severe weather risk. We will watch for additional showers and storms developing across the Ohio River Valley, but then we'll be watching for this storm system here across the central and southern plains to begin tracking off to the northeast, bringing that threat back into the mid-Mississippi Valley region here for some more widespread showers and storms and potentially some severe weather. So here we go. I'll go ahead and scroll through time here as we wake up on Tuesday morning and head into the afternoon hours. Here is where we can watch that kind of compact low pressure system here across the state of Kansas, and that's where we'll watch for the flaring up of some thunderstorms here on Tuesday afternoon and evening. There we see it here, a couple of corridors here, a cluster of thunderstorms across Kansas, additional thunderstorms developing here across Oklahoma and Texas. That's our severe weather threat, but still seeing the potential for some scattered showers and storms across the Ohio River Valley and the Mid-South as we head into Tuesday evening and Tuesday afternoon. So we head through the overnight now into the very early morning hours on Wednesday. As we wake up on Wednesday morning, seeing the corridor of showers and storms moving off to the east here, anywhere from Kansas City over towards the St. Louis area. Seeing another area of showers and storms possible across the Dakotas here early on Wednesday morning. Heading through the afternoon, we get the sun comes out, we get the atmosphere destabilized again, and we watch for widespread showers and storms developing with this first trough moving across the area, across the states of Missouri, Illinois, off south along the lower Mississippi Valley. Again, watching for scattered showers and storms across the Dakotas, but the heaviest rainfall risk shifting off into the eastern Corn Belt here as we head into Wednesday night and during the day on Thursday. Just some very heavy rain possible here across this corridor of Illinois, Indiana, in parts of eastern Missouri. And then again, the threat for some severe weather Wednesday evening. The main threat here to be damaging winds with some of these corridors of bowing line segments and squall lines, which is very typical as we head into this time of year. Again, even as we move into Thursday morning, still seeing the forecast calling for some showers and storms across the Dakotas. But the main threat here as we head through the next couple of days here, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, going to be in this corridor here where that low pressure system tracks from Kansas across into the eastern Corn Belt with that very moist, very favorable, very unstable air mass leading to the opportunities for some heavy rain. So the total precipitation forecast here again from the high resolution AM as we head all the way into Thursday morning, again highlighting that corridor here from the Central Plains into the Ohio River Valley into the eastern Corn Belt, where we've got the potential for some corridors of very heavy rainfall. Again, this is a forecast that's not going to nail it exactly, so if you can pick yourself on the map there, try to avoid, looking over and matching it up with the precipitation total here. Just notice the overall pattern continuing to be very active along this boundary from the Central Plains into the eastern Corn Belt, and then for you folks up here in the Dakotas, seeing the potential for some scattered showers and storms as well over the next 72 hours. As we look out beyond that, we'll look at the European model here and kind of check in with the evolution that I just told you about. We watched that first trough slide off to the east before we introduce a more significant trough across the Pacific Northwest and then eventually into the northern plains. There we see it there. We'll go ahead and click through time with this and just kind of show you that evolution. Here's the first kind of subtle trough that is plenty to kick off some severe weather and some thunderstorms across the central and southern plains today. As we head through the next 24 to 48 hours, we watch this move off to the east slowly. Here we've got it now across the eastern Corn Belt. That's why a Wednesday into Thursday, watching the heavy rain and thunderstorm activity shift into that area. But here comes that next trough already as we are getting into Thursday morning. And then eventually Friday morning, and now Saturday. We've got a very well-defined trough now across the northern plains, and that's leading to perhaps a more focused severe weather and heavy rain threat across the northern plains, but again, really just keeping it active along this entire boundary from the eastern Corn Belt into the central and the northern plains as we head into the weekend. The precipitation forecast over the same time period, we'll step through time with that. But again, you're just going to notice very active as we head through the next 5 days, just no shutdown of this pattern from the central plains into the eastern Corn Belt. If anything, we just introduced the heavy rainfall risk off to the north. So here we go, Tuesday afternoon and evening, watching for those widespread showers and storms, the severe weather threat across the central and the southern plains, scattered showers and storms possible here across the Ohio River Valley into the mid-south. So we head into Wednesday night and now Wednesday afternoon and evening. We're watching that area of low pressure shift off to the eastern Corn Belt now from the central plains, bringing that heavy rain and severe weather threat into parts of the mid-Mississippi Valley and the Ohio River Valley for Wednesday evening and Wednesday night, seeing those scattered showers and storms across the Dakotas here as well. Getting into the day now, Thursday, watching that first system track into the state of Ohio now, moving into the northeast region as we get into Thursday evening. But now, as this trough begins emerging out of the Pacific Northwest, we're starting to see some showers and storms, some warm air advection, kind of a warm front in this area as the boundary lifts off to the north, seeing showers and storms now across the northern plains and the upper Midwest. And then heading into the day on Friday now, as the trough is fully emerging across the northern plains, we're starting to see a more well-defined area of low pressure across the northern plains, but other smaller, compact areas of low pressure here. Some of these are, as a result of showers and storms from the previous day, but this boundary here just continues to light up with focused areas of showers and storms. This is Friday evening now as we head all the way through the end of the week. Take this out just a couple more days, getting into Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and now stopping as we get into Sunday evening. And what you saw there was just, continued rounds, especially across this area, but then as we head into the later part of the week, starting to introduce more focused areas of showers and storms off to the north as well. So the total precipitation forecast, as I just play this out from the European model, and there you see it, this focused corridor across the central plains into the eastern Corn Belt, but then another corridor showing up here towards the end of the weather model run here as we get into the later part of the week, closer to the weekend. Side by side, the European model here over on the left. We've got the GFS over on the right, and a similar picture told here. Again, neither of these models is going to be 100% correct with these swaths of heavier rain, but the pattern is very clear on both models. The European model and the GFS both have this corridor from the central plains into the eastern Corn Belt. both introduce this corridor here from the Canadian prairies into the northern plains as we get into the later part of the week. So very active, unfortunately, across the entire Corn Belt. I know this kind of means the end of the road for some folks, perhaps in the eastern Corn Belt where we're trying to wrap up planting, and we've seen that temporary dry window come to a close. And for other folks who did get crops on the ground, maybe going to be dealing with some flooding issues. Still continued bad news for a lot of people here across the Corn Belt. As we shift now and talk about the temperatures, we do see a bit of a shift in the pattern here. As we look at the next 5 days, remember we're going to be dealing with the trough across the northwest, and that's why we keep cooler risks across the northern plains and the central plains, closer to average to slightly above average as you head off to the southeast. But as we look at the 5 days that follow, this is the days 6 through 10, so looking at the period from about June 24th through June 28th. Now we're going to start to move this trough off to the west. It's going to sort of retrograde back to the west. And that introduces some ridging now across the eastern Corn Belt, where perhaps we'll introduce some warmer temperature risks as we head into the later part of the month. But it's not a shutdown of the precipitation, unfortunately, as we'll have a lot of moisture in the soil here. We'll continue to have the Gulf of Mexico open here, so even with a bit of ridging across the Corn Belt, it does look like we'll still have the chance for showers and storms. Of course, trying to pivot over and talk about temperatures here, as I know I've really drilled it in, it's going to be active and stormy across the entire Corn Belt again for the next 5 days. We'll finish here with high temperatures. Your Tuesday high temperatures, you can see this boundary here. Warm, hot, and humid to the south of that. Temperatures in the upper 80s, and it's kind of it's not hot, but it's just muggy across the entire Corn Belt here, with high temperatures in the 70s, the mid 70s to near 80 degrees here in the mid-Mississippi Valley. As we look at Wednesday, a very similar picture. We just continue to watch this boundary. Here's your Thursday high temperatures, Friday high temperatures, and Saturday. And again, it's right along this same boundary. You can draw it in each and every day there, where we've got warm and humid air coming in from the south, and then the active jet stream over the top of that, just continuing to light up the atmosphere with showers and thunderstorms. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Thursday morning Ag Forecast video, and I'll have your next Corn Belt regional forecast for you midday on Friday. Have a wonderful day.